Welcome to the Epic Vision Zone. Referred by the media as the Renaissance woman with soul, my guest today is an entrepreneur with amazing talent. A world traveler who speaks 5 languages, she is a New York Times bestselling author, a philanthropist, an internationally acclaimed keynote speaker, a radio and TV host, personal growth consultant, actor, producer, columnist, interior designer, gardener, and empowerment architect. Woo, that is amazing. Her expertise spans the gamut, from producer, director, and author to hosting, casting, coaching both adults and kids, and performing with some of the biggest names in the entertainment industry. As an empowerment architect, she is all about passion, purpose, and possibility. I love that. If you're looking for a guide to help you achieve your dreams and design a life you love, whether you're an adult, a teen, or a company, she will help you and your team see the invisible to create the impossible. Closest to her heart is her literacy and positive media nonprofit organization, Be the Star You Are. As founder and executive director, she is devoted to making a difference with women, families, and youth. Her goal, to coach them to be authentic, dynamic success stories, offering positive tools for living an empowered life, are all part of her motto, read to lead and succeed. Aligning with her passion to help youth, she is also the producer and director of the youth adult radio broadcast Express Yourself, the #1 most listened to program around the world on the Voice America Kids Network, with teen hosts and contributors. My guest says Express Yourself is an uncensored, safe haven where youth talk and the world listens. Welcome, Cynthia Bryan. Oh my gosh.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you so very much.
Oh my gosh, you are amazing. Just amazing. So your background is really interesting. You were born on a farm in Napa Valley, Northern California, and the eldest of 5 children. You raised chickens and sheep, picked fruit, and drove tractors to earn enough money to pay your way through college.
Yep.
Even a grand champion rooster raiser, which I don't even know what that is, but it sounds really cool.
It's brought me a lot of great things. So being a chicken lady is a wonderful thing.
I can imagine. Now, my question to you, and it could be a life story, but let's keep it short. How did a California farm girl like you grab life by the tail and live it so fully?
Oh, thank you, Jane, for even asking that question. I really give my parents credit. I'm the first person in my family to go on to a college education because I paid for it by raising chickens and selling the eggs for 30, 40, 50 cents a dozen. But it was my parents who had no education, and we grew up on this farm, and they just always told me that, you know, we're all equal. Anybody can do anything that they want to do in life as long as you work hard, you put your mind to it, and you love what you do. So love what you do and go for it, and you'll be able to reach for the stars. And I've been doing it ever since. So I give them my gratitude.
Yes, it's absolutely evident in your life. So what were some of the most memorable challenges growing into the dynamo that you are today?
Oh, you know, there are so many challenges in life, and my feeling about challenges is that they're just stepping stones and that everything is a lesson, because we have that opportunity to choose to be happy or to choose to be sad. Happiness is an inside job. So that means when we hit a stumbling block and we hit a challenge, it's not what happens to us, it's how we react to it. And I have to tell you, I've had just innumerable challenges. So I coined a phrase: failure is fertilizer.
Oh, I love that. I've actually got that. Tell me about it. I love it.
Okay, well, I'm a big gardener, and as you already said, I grew up on a farm, and I'm still a farmer. In fact, 5 minutes before I turned on this computer to be with you, I was cleaning out my little chicken coop because I have 10 baby politos,
Oh.
little babies right now. And so I had to clean it out. So I'm still farming. But what I mean by failure is fertilizer is that when you make a mistake, there really are no mistakes in life. Again, as long as there's lessons, you just put it in the compost pile, grow a new garden. So when something goes wrong, instead of, moping about it, figure out, okay, what's the takeaway? What's the positive that I can learn from this? And I've had personally a lot of tragedies in my life. My youngest brother was killed at 16 in a tractor accident on our farm. My dad died in my arms. I've had many, many, many things that have happened. And, but what it did is, of course, you grieve and you go through the process, but then it propels you to do something bigger, greater, that can help the greater good. In fact, my dad on his deathbed told me when I said, what else can I do for you, Daddy? He said, hon, I'm dying a happy man. I married the woman I loved. We were married 45 years. I had 5 crazy kids. And I worked in a profession that was my passion. I got up every day and I fed people. And my dad was a farmer. And he said, I've lived my dream, and so he never had, he wasn't president of anything. He wasn't a famous person, but in our life, he was our hero and he was the greatest thing ever. So when he said that to me, something really happened. It was like, wow, if a farmer who, when he got sick and the insurance company said they were canceling him, felt that he had lived his destiny, then can't I help other people find their passion, their purpose, and show them the possibilities that it doesn't matter where you're from, what's your background, what's your race, what's your culture, as long as you really strive to be the best person you can be and live every day with respect and dignity and all that, that things really can happen. You have to have intention. Yes. And so it's always been my intention. I reach for the stars and I hope to land on them.
Yes, I love it. I love it.
But, it's compost.
Well, that's a great motto to have. And we're going to have that as a highlight, because when you turn it into that, when it becomes, failure is fertilizer, and the fertilizer helps you grow.
Exactly.
I mean, it's really, it changes the perspective. But like you said, I mean, it's looking at things through a different lens.
That's what I think we have to do to be successful, because if anybody out there is a gardener, and when I say that, I call gardeners anybody who plants anything. If you have a pot or a plot, you're a gardener. Okay. So yeah, and I always tell people when they'll say to me, well, how do you keep a relationship going? It's like, grow a plant. If you can grow a plant, you can probably keep a relationship going.
Oh my God, that's funny.
When things die, maybe it just wasn't in the right place. Instead of mourning it, I just go on to the next thing. Right. So that's the thing, is that we can't change the past, but we have control over the future.
We can create the future.
We create our own future. I believe that we design our lives. And if we don't design our lives are going to design us. So we might as well take the bull by the horn.
I love it. Spoken like a true farm girl.
Yeah. Well, we have cattle too.
Well, in fact, you just sort of segued into the next question, and you may have answered some of these questions, because as an empowerment architect, and I love that name, by the way, and a life success coach, you teach positivity, passion, and purpose. And my question was, why those 3 attributes, and why are they so vital to building a business and life you love? And you've kind of touched on them, but was there anything else that you wanted to fill in on that?
There's a lot of P's that are really important, I think, because we have to have perseverance and persistence. But I have always believed that once you find your passion in life, you find your purpose. And life without purpose isn't really worth living. And this is why I work with young people, because so many feel hopeless and helpless. And it's really critical that we give them that optimism. And that's why everything I do is positive. We can see our life with the glass half empty, or we can see it as half full. And I know that I'm kind of an eternal optimist, but to me, that's being a realist, because when what you think about and talk about will come about. And
Oh,
I
I
have
like
taught
that.
people, yeah, I have taught people who have said, oh, nothing ever good happens to me. If there's going to be a problem, it's going to happen to me. And guess what? They have problems after problems. Well, everybody's going to have problems. I mean, we're humans in training. So all of us are humans.
I love that. Humans in training. You've got some great takeaways.
Well, we're all going to, thank you. We're all going to have issues. But,
Right.
you know, again, it gets back to that choice in designing our life. So find a purpose, find something that you really, really love.
Mhm.
And you made me think of something when you were just talking about the things that I've done or kind of a bio for me. And it's that I have always rolled into something else. I'm constantly reinventing myself
Mm.
from what I already know. So passions, and I'll just give you one little example.
Sure.
Because I grew up on the farm, and so nature is just really important to me. But I had the opportunity to be a teenage ambassador living in Europe, where I fell in love with art and architecture and design and beautiful furnishings. And then I was working in the film industry, and I was so mesmerized by the set designs. I was like, wow, if I ever build a house, I want a set designer to build it. Because, we would work in these studios, and they would build these magnificent sets that looked like the real thing, but they weren't the real thing.
Right.
But it gave me an interest in design. And so I actually did get the opportunity. I thought, I'm going to build my own house. I mean, not personally build it, but I'm going to design it. And then I'm going to design the house. And then I'm going to do all the design in the inside. I'm going to do everything from the painting, the wallpapering, making the upholstery, doing the window treatments, everything. I'm going to do it all. But I didn't know how. So what you do is, but I was passionate about it.
Right.
So I thought, okay, I'm going to learn. So you take classes, you read books, you go to seminars, you do all those things. And I ended up building my house. And soon enough, people were coming and saying, gosh, who designed your house? And I was like, well, I did. Oh, well, would you consider doing something for me? It led to a business. So it was turning the passion into profit.
Yes.
I had no desire originally to be a designer. But then once I started doing interior design, I found I was really, really good at it. I loved it. So I had that purpose, I had that passion, and the possibilities just opened. It's like people started literally knocking on my door.
I love I love the way the story wraps into all those things that you highlight.
Well, because it all comes back to who I am as a person. I really believe in being authentic, being true to who you are, having integrity, and then again, just doing what you love. So, that saying that when you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Yes.
Well, I really believe that's the way we grew up. We all, the 5 kids, because we were farm kids, and this pretty much goes across the board. When you're live on a farm, literally from the time you can toddle, you're working. And
Yes.
I was working in the cherry orchards at Neighbors, probably at 3. And my parents would say, yeah, they actually gave you a penny for every cleat that you picked up. I mean, think about it. You're this little, but that was just part of what we did. But we loved it because we were there as a family and everybody's working together. And then I worked in the fields and all of that. But I always loved what I did. And so that's always been the crux of who I am. When you love it, it doesn't feel like work. Yes, you're working long hours, but you kind of lose track of time.
Yeah, you lose touch of time when you're passionate about it. And also too, I think growing up on the farm taught you good work ethics.
Oh my gosh. My whole family is like this. We are really, I know people don't like the word hard workers, but we are hard workers.
Yeah.
And so we're diligent, we're responsible. Your word is your commitment. When you say you're going to do something, you do it, you show up. And those skills have taken us through life. I've always joked that if the movie business went into Feel-O-Rama, I would be out of a job because my hands are, there used to be a commercial about the crab lady. I mean, my hands are so rough that it's like sandpaper.
Right. From
now
using them.
now I try to wear gloves, but they're still like sandpaper because I have to take them off. But yes, growing up on a farm, it really taught us work ethics that have got me through my whole life. And this is something that I really like to encourage parents is, you don't want to give your kids everything. You want to give them tons of love and unconditional, and make sure that they know that you're always there, that you're their backup person. But you don't want to bail them out of everything. You want to teach them how to work, how to be sustainable. This is why, teach them how to grow a garden, especially in these times. Teach them how to cook. Make them, tell them you can't leave the house till you make your bed. You have to clean your room, pick up your clothes,
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in this. Not everybody believes in that, but I do feel that children who are given a work ethic end up being more successful in life, or at least happier in life, because they can fend for themselves. I know my two college girlfriends from UCLA, they always say, gosh, if it's the end of the world, there's one person we want on that island, and that's you.
Yes, you can do it all.
Well, I'll find something. I'll find a way to help us eat. I'll find a way to build a shelter. I'll be out there in the water, swimming, trying to catch the fish.
Well, you have to send me an invite too.
Yes, would you join us? Actually, I'd rather have my son there. He's really the one that's that could do it.
Well, we can invite the testosterone single male on the
There you go. Right, there you go.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I just love it because a lot of it has to do with our upbringing, and of course those are all the habits that we form when we're young, the behavior. And if they're good and they're grounded in love, like you said, it's so incredible what we're capable of. But there is evidence today that we can change those. So that's really good. Like you work with teens.
Right. And that's what I think what you're saying is so important, is that I really want to go back to the fact that it's never too late to have a happy childhood. It's difficult. I know there are so many people that are growing up, with a single parent or maybe no parents, or they've been in foster homes, and it's really, really tough. But as they grow older, if they can find a mentor and find a guide and find someone who believes in them, it's just unbelievable the changes that can happen. We only need one cheerleader in life, one person that completely believes in the possibilities for us and helps us believe in ourselves. Because until we believe in ourselves, no one else is going to believe in us.
Exactly.
And that's really, really the key. So we do have to dream big. I firmly advocate for dreaming big, and don't worry about how it's going to happen. Somehow when you dream big and then you write down the plan and you get the skills you need, and then you go into action and you find that cheerleader and you believe in yourself, and then you just let the world present the possibilities to you. Now, that doesn't mean you got to work. It doesn't mean that you sit, in bed eating bonbons and watching TV and hoping the phone's going to ring, or that's really not going to happen. You got to get out there and do something. But I feel that that's a really good method. It's a really good outline for a success story.
It most certainly is. And in fact, that leads me to your nonprofit, which is very dear to your heart, Be the Star You Are. And it's a wonderful, wonderful nonprofit. And I wanted you to tell us what that is all about.
I am so grateful that you brought that up. Thank you, because it really is close to my heart. It's called Be the Star You Are. And it was founded to be a literacy and positive media message charity. And it's all volunteer. Nobody's paid. I am not salaried, which is unfortunate actually now, because I probably could have gotten something for the charity if somebody had been salaried. But 21 years ago, I just wanted every donation penny to go to services and to
Right.
go to programs.
Mm.
And the whole goal is to empower women, family, and youth through increased literacy, positive media messages, and tools for living. And the positive media messages are so critical because, as you know, we are bombarded. We turn on the television, the radio, the internet, whatever, and it's all negative.
Mm-hmm.
It's so negative.
Because
and
that's what sells. It's
that's what sells.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it bleeds, it leads, right?
Yeah. Yes. That's so true.
Yeah. And it's really, that's really sad because that becomes a vicious circle when all you see is violence and negativity and just horrid things. I mean, things that we really shouldn't be seeing. We tend to lose our humanity. We tend to forget that the majority of people are really good people, that there are good things out there. So the goal for Be the Star You Are is to present the positive, to give people hope, to give people optimism, to let them know that yes, there is a tomorrow and you are going to be part of it. You know, join us. And women are critical because women have been ignored, right? It's pretty much been a white man's world. And we're seeing a lot of that in today's day, and how critical it is to be inclusive. We have to have diversity. So I felt that if we really focus on women and then families as a whole, because the family is ignored so much. Yeah. And then of course, children, because children teach their parents. Children teach adults. I have learned more from the kids, and I call them all my kids, I have like over the years, there's been thousands of volunteers, you know,
that's wonderful.
they go, some of them stay. I mean, on Express Yourself Teen Radio, it's really wonderful because some of the teens that started, I launched that in 2011. They were teens then, and now they're in their late 20s, and they're still hosts and reporters, and they still want to be on the show to help other people, to pass it forward. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's really great. So anyway, we do a lot of outreach programs, and people can see it. I think the best way is to go to the website, bethestarur.org or btsya.org, and you'll be able to see all the different things we do. And when there's a disaster, our Operation Disaster Relief is really important because we donate books and positive resources, you know, videos, games, all different kinds of things that can help people get out of their sadness, like through the fires, through earthquakes and floods, and when we do this throughout the United States. So it's been really, it's rewarding. People often ask me, why do you do this? You're not getting paid. And, you know, it's a weird question because to me, I'm not getting paid monetarily, but to me, that's not what paid is all about. I am so fulfilled because I see the joy in other people. I see how I'm helping the volunteers become the people they were meant to be and grow from being shy and introverted to following their destiny and going for what they love. Because part of Be the Star You Are is I want to help the volunteers find their authentic self and really grow as a person, become a leader. So I work really hard with the volunteers. I mean, I attempt to mentor them and help them, you know, help them grow, see what they need.
And most,
so to me, that's payment.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, it's filling your heart.
And your soul.
And your soul, yeah. And I noticed that most of the volunteers are all the kids. Am I right?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
I would say, first of all, we are completely inclusive, that we don't see, you know, I call it colorblind, but I think that I've heard from a couple of volunteers, they don't like that name. So they say, call it color brave. And so I understand that more, but we don't see race, religion, you know, ethnicity, color, gender, anything. It doesn't matter. And we have a very, very diversified volunteer, and almost all of them, 98% of our volunteers are young kids teenagers and young adults. And
Yeah.
I'm really proud of that because they're our future. And if we can teach them today to give back and to
Mhm.
help others, and again, to pay it forward, to pass on their knowledge, to help others, I really have hope for our world. I
Yeah.
really have hope for our world. I
Yeah.
think we can make a difference. And these people, they're dedicated to making a difference. So
Yeah, it's
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 exciting.
wonderful. To me, it feels like you've created an extended family because you grew up with the family and you grew
Oh,
up with that
oh,
foundation.
you just gave me chills, Jane.
Oh,
No, that's so beautiful. Nobody is, well, no interviewers said that, but the kids say that to me. They always say, "Oh, Cynthia, I'm so happy to be part of the Be the Star You Are family." In
yeah.
fact, our host on Express Yourself, that Rachel, she's been a volunteer now for 13 years. 13 years. And she started, I think, when she was 12 or 13. I think she's going on her 14th year. Anyway, she actually said it on the air the other day, how important the family of Be the
Mhm.
Star You Are was. And that resonates. You're right. I grew
Yeah.
up in a family and we didn't have monetary things.
No,
We didn't know
but
we
you had
were,
lots of love and guidance.
yes, we didn't know we were poor.
Yeah, but that was beautiful though,
Yes,
because poor doesn't mean
completely.
you have to be poor of soul or poor of
Right.
love. Poor,
We were
we always
so,
we always associate it with money,
right, Jane,
but
right.
being poor doesn't mean you don't have to have a clean house, you don't have to have, love in your home, have a good meal. I mean, yeah.
Yes, yeah, that's the essence. I really believe that's the essence of who I am and of what Be the Star You Are is that we're rich in spirit and we can be small and mighty. And that's such a critical element for life. When you help others, you help yourself.
Yes.
And so when people are depressed, if they're having a hard day, go out and help others. Go out and smile at somebody. Walk past a homeless person and give them a sandwich and a smile. A smile gives our face value and it helps other people because it's like a mirror. It reflects back.
Yes.
So it's absolutely critical that we share our love and share our passions and share the possibilities, because by doing that, we will help other people find their purpose.
Yes, absolutely. I love it. Yeah, to me, it just feels like it's the large family that those who don't have, they can
Mhm.
find it at
And
Be the
that's true.
Star You Are.
They can find it at Be the Star You Are or whatever resonates with them. If
Yes.
somebody, for us, we have a lot of people, they like to read books. We're trying to increase literacy. Illiteracy is a $20 billion problem here in America. Let's just say nothing of the world. It's like, so the people in prison, the majority of the people in prison have a 4th grade reading level.
Oh, boy.
So if we could get people to read more, they would be able to get better jobs. I mean, think about it. If you
Mhm.
can't read how to fill out an application, or you can't read a road sign, you're not going to go very far.
Right.
So so literacy, positive media, it all goes together. It's very, very critical. But
Mhm.
if somebody's not, if that's not your passion, if you want to feed the hungry, then go work in a soup kitchen. If
Mhm.
you want to help people dress for work, go work for or go volunteer at a charity that collects clothes and gives them to people who are hunting for jobs. There's something out there for everyone. I
Yes.
mean, of course, we invite you to be part of our Be the Star You Are family, but if it doesn't resonate with you, no, we
I
want to encourage and empower the volunteers to
Yeah.
go for what they want. So
Yeah.
that's why with the radio show with the kids, so many of these kids have now become journalists.
Oh,
And that's
really?
that's very
Wow.
exciting. They're journalists and they're working in media. And so they graduate, they get their experience right here on Express Yourself Teen Radio. And then they can go on and they have all these shows that they've been on. So
Yeah,
they
the
actually
tools.
have a
They've had
reel.
experience and
They've
they've
got
got
the
the
tools.
tools. Oh my gosh,
And
that's wonderful.
they learn how to interview, right?
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. I love it.
Exciting.
Well, I wanted to move on to one of your books, and I think it may be a newer one. I'm not sure, but Growing with the Goddess Gardener.
Oh, yes,
I,
yes, yes. I have
I
it right here.
oh, I love that title. I love it. Love it.
Growing. Okay, so I have to tell you how
And
it happened. This is
okay,
supposed to be 1 in 9, and I thought that maybe I'd be working on number 2 right now, but I haven't had a chance, but I'm going to. So
what's the matter with you, Cynthia?
I know, I know,
Flatter.
I know. Well, I'm raising baby chicks right now too,
No,
and I'm planting my gardens.
I'm joking. You do so
No, I
much.
know you are, and I love joking. But anyway, how it started was I write for the newspaper. I have a column, and it's called Digging Deep with Cynthia Bryant. And people started calling me the Goddess Gardener. And it was like, okay, I love it. I think everybody needs to be a god and goddess in their own gardener,
I'm
in
with
their own
you.
garden. And a kind of a funny aside is, on the farm when we were growing up, of course, when you're teenagers, right, and you're going to go out on a date, hopefully you'd like to get a tan, you wanted to look nice. So my sisters and I would wear our bikinis out on the tractor.
Oh,
You have to remember, we're out in the middle of nowhere. Nobody can see us, except for what we would never realize is that we would slather ourselves with baby oil, and then after we've done one row of grapes or whatever we were plowing, we'd be covered with dirt, so it didn't work anyway.
oh,
But
no.
so we always did our farm work in our bathing suits or our shorts. So I call this book, the series is called a Garden Shorts series. And it's sort of a play on word because I always garden in my shorts or my bikini. And my daughter said to me recently, she said, Mom, I'm so happy. I'm happy to be from a long line of bikini gardeners because my mom does it, my sister, we all
Really? That's hysterical.
and we wear our big boots, our cowboy boots, so that the rattlesnakes wouldn't get us. So
Oh,
you can
okay.
just picture how gorgeous this is.
Yeah.
But anyway,
You should do a calendar.
oh no, I think it's a little past that, but it would be so the first one's called Growing with the Goddess Gardener, and it's just sort of an overview. And then the next one will be Growing with Patience, Growing with Responsibility, and they'll all be in the Goddess Gardener. But the important thing is I think gardening teaches us so much about ourselves. I mean, think about patience, right? You can't rush a radish. You could sit there and yell at that radish to grow, 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 and I've done it. It doesn't work.
Oh, okay.
So being a gardener means you have to have patience. You plant the seed, you water it, hopefully it grows. Hopefully the rabbits don't eat it, but it takes patience. And it teaches you so many other things. Again, I think there's love in the garden, everything. So I love this book. So Growing with the Goddess Gardener, it's the new one.
Yes, and it says there that it has techniques and tips for your inner star using nature as a guide. So you have Blossom with Possibilities. That's what you say.
Yes.
So
yes. And the way I've structured it is it's in 2 sections, each of 12 months. So the first one, it'll be January to December, and it shares a story in the garden with a lot of tips in the garden, but it's always a true story about what's happening in that month of January, February, on.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one is literally a garden guide for every month. So what to do. And so it's very practical for people because I have emails like, oh goodness, it's September. What do I do now? And of course, it depends what part of the country you're in.
Right.
But anyway, the book can definitely help.
Yeah, I love it because I also read a little bit on it, and I'll just read what I have here because it sounds very intriguing. You said life began in the garden. A garden is where nature and nurture converge, a calming oasis where we can listen to the call of the wild and sometimes tame the shrew. Whether you consider yourself a brown thumb or a green thumb, Growing with the Goddess Gardener will enchant, inspire, and motivate you to get up off the couch, power down your gadgets, and go outside to smell the roses.
Yeah. Yeah, and don't we all need to be doing that right now?
Yes.
I mean,
So the goddess gardener. So you were just unpacking that.
oh, yes. Well, so what I was starting to say is I don't really believe anybody has a brown thumb, even though people tell me all the time, oh, I can't grow anything. So start small. Just do something that is going to be so simple to grow, like a radish. That really is easy. Or just buy a little plant, but start with a pot. Don't try to do something too big. And I think that, you know, the victory gardens of the past, you know, World War I started them, and then they were called war gardens then, and
Oh, I didn't
World
know.
War II, they were called victory gardens. And now I'm calling it Victory Garden 3.0 because
Okay.
I really believe that all of us need to have a little bit of our own food, and we also have to plant a few pretties. And even if
Yes.
you live in an apartment, if you have a windowsill or a balcony or a patio, you don't need a big space. You can get one pot and plant a tomato with some basil and maybe a pepper, and you'll have a little salad, you know. And I just think that it'd be so great if people start getting back to nature a bit,
Yeah.
getting back to your source and just growing something. It'll give you so much pride, and your family will be excited, and it's a great thing to do with kids. You can, you know, grow a pizza.
Yeah,
Really.
well, then you have your fresh herbs, like my sister was saying, because she is actually a chef.
Oh, well, there you
Yeah.
go.
Well, but she grows her own microgreens in the windowsill, but she also has nice bins in the backyard. Now she's in Toronto. I'm in Arizona.
Uh-huh.
So, but she has these nice big garden bins that she has made. And she emailed me the other day and she said, I've been out in the garden and my hands are all dirty and I've never felt so good.
Exactly.
And I said, it's like you're a little kid again, isn't it? You're in the dirt and it smells so good.
Mm.
And you just feel like you're contributing to something, but it's true. It just makes you feel
it
good.
does. I know. I encourage everyone to get their hands in the dirt. This is, you know,
Yeah.
I'm a dirt gardener, and we grew up. My parents always said, "There's no such thing as dirty dirt." You know,
Oh.
we have clean dirt, and I used to wonder, what does that mean? So I'd go to school. I mean, does everybody have clean dirt?
Clean dirt. You have to be careful what you say. Kids take
Yeah.
it to the extreme.
I
We
know.
have clean dirt.
We have clean dirt. And what they meant is that when you get dirty, you can wash it off, right?
Okay.
That's what they meant. So you can get clean. But yes, it's like you remember making mud pies.
Yeah.
There's something about growing things yourself. I've had the same experience with girlfriends who live in big cities who have never grown anything. And they're calling and emailing me now and saying, oh, I'm so excited. I got a pot and this is what I did. Or, you know, they got even a glass and grew some sprouts and some water. You can do so many things. And of course, these days, it's only a click away on the internet for a YouTube video of people doing things.
Right.
So there's really no excuse.
No.
I do recommend it. I do feel that you will feel like a kid again. You'll feel healthy. And when you grow your own, you know what's in the soil.
Yes.
You can have your clean dirt. And so you're not getting the pesticides and insecticides and all those things that are harmful to you.
Right.
You know, when we buy things in the supermarket, we really don't know how many miles they've traveled or when they were picked. I mean, I'm a little bit of a snob with some things. Like, I will not eat a store-bought tomato, grapes, oranges, because those are things, I mean, I grow all those things, but to me, they have no flavor. They taste like plastic.
Yeah.
Whereas you grow your own, and your plant might look scraggly and horrible, but boy, is it sweet and juicy.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true.
Mm-hmm.
There's lemon trees around here and oranges and grapefruits. And when you get those off of the trees versus what you get in the store, it's night and day. They're so juicy and they're so either sweet or full of,
and even the fragrance of the rind.
Oh,
I have several different citrus trees, and what I've been doing these last few months, because they're everything. I have my lemons, my limes, and my tangelos, and my tangerines. They're all really flourishing. So I have been taking baskets of them, you know, and making sure that neighbors have them so they get plenty of vitamin C. and friends and co-workers. Yes. And when I go to the post office, I bring them.
Wow. It's like, I wish I was close by.
I know. You have to have your vitamin C. Stay healthy. Stay
exactly.
Healthy.
Yeah, for sure. Well, speaking of books, in fact, my next question was, what advice would you give, or even a few tips for a budding author who is thinking of writing their first book? Because I know there's a lot of individuals and coaches and business people. I mean, everybody's coming out with a book these days, but there, you know, you have a number of books. So do you have any secret sauce or secret formula, or what would you recommend? Because
I recommend just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it, because you're right. There really isn't a secret sauce. From the time 20 years ago is when my first book launched, and hopefully I'm going to write many more books. But you know, it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. But I really believe just do it, because as you said, it seems everybody is writing a book these days. And that's one of my beliefs. I believe that there's a book inside everyone. I believe that we're all storytellers and we all have something to offer the world. So just do it. And these days, it used to be you had to get an agent and then get a publisher. It was a very long, drawn out process. And you could get 200 rejections before you got an acceptance. And then you may not even get an advance. And then, you know, so just self-publish. There's so many ways these days to do it yourself. And that way, whatever you do sell, you will keep the proceeds. And, you know, and you won't have to be worrying about how many you do sell. So I am not a person that have ever written books thinking, oh, I want to make millions. I guess I don't look at life that way. I just want to make a difference. So I'm hoping that the messages that I'm writing will resonate with people and that they'll want to hear the words. And so then they buy the books. But that's the reason I just don't worry about people buying the books. Just write the book because it's your passion and you want to write it and you have something to say. And even if you just make copies and give them to your family and friends, you've written a book.
Yeah. And don't get stuck in the perfection, because I find that that's a big issue with people. You know, they'll write a page and they'll go, oh, it's no good. And they go back and rewrite it.
I'm really glad you brought up that word perfection. It's my least favorite word in the whole vocabulary of the world. I believe in excellence. I don't believe in perfection. I don't think there's any such thing as perfection. But with that being said, once you've written your book, you'll probably want to do a few drafts, and you'll definitely want to edit. And you definitely want to do spell check. And if possible, have, you know, I mean, if you have the money to hire an editor to go through it, to make sure that you have good sentence structure and that the words are, you know, that they're spelled correctly, because it is disconcerting to pick up a book that's filled with errors. Now, again, almost every book you're ever going to read, there's going to be some printing error somewhere. I mean, it just happens. That's just what happens. And we just got to let it go. That's another great word. Just let it go.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah, just let it go. I think that we stress over so much, especially as Americans. We stress over really a lot of things, and just let it go.
Yeah.
Get over yourself.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I have one guest.
Failure's fertilizer.
I love it. It's fertilizer. That's the best way to look at it. It's just shit.
Yeah, it is. It is. You know, maybe you know this. It's a fable, and I don't know where it's from, but it's one of my very, very favorites. And there are two boys, and they were put in a barn, and they were given a shovel, and the barn is filled with manure. And one boy is shoveling, and he's angry. He hates this. And the other boy is whistling and smiling and shoveling faster and faster. And the guy says to him, well, why are you so happy? He goes, well, with all this manure in here, there's got to be a pony somewhere.
See, I love that.
It's optimism. That would be me. I would be shoveling, going, okay, I know there's going to be something good here.
Yeah, right. Attitude. I love it. I love it.
Attitude.
Well, what, just out of curiosity, because you are very good and you have your own radio show, et cetera, about interviewing, and you brought that up very briefly with the kids radio show. Can you give us 3 things that make a good interview? Interviewer.
Oh, interviewer or interview. Okay. First of all, number one, I think that whoever you're going to be interviewing, you need to learn everything you can about them. And this is still on number one. For example, I interview mostly authors, and I make it my duty to read cover to cover their book. So I do not use cheat sheets or anything. I read their book and then I ask them questions. And that's my show on Star Style, Be the Star You Are. So number one is I think you have to do your homework as an interviewer and know who you are going to be interviewing. That's number one. Number two is you must be your authentic self. Be yourself. Don't try to be anybody else. Don't try to imitate some other interviewer. Just be who you are, because everybody else is taken anyway. So you can only be the best.
Everyone else is taken. Yeah. Okay.
And the third thing is, this is kind of 3 things. Smile, have fun, and be willing to be wild and crazy. And that's
yeah, it's true.
And those are the 3 things. It's have fun. If you're having fun and you're smiling, your audience is having fun too. Because if you're dreading it, if you're not having fun, then you're not going to come across in any way, shape, or form.
Exactly.
And those 3 things, in a way, kind of go with the interviewee. Be authentic. Obviously, you may not know everything about the interviewer, but at least do your homework a little bit. And be authentic, be yourself. Don't be reading a script. Speak from your heart. Just be natural. Be who you are. Answer the questions. And again, smile, have fun, and be wild and crazy. And you can tell that I live it.
Yes, you do. You absolutely do. And you can tell you're very, very passionate about it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So can you tell us something about yourself that isn't on your resume? I'm not sure if there's anything there that isn't, not necessarily on your resume, but your bio, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, let's see. I don't know if it's on my bio. I take in abandoned and abused animals, and I've been doing that almost my entire life. So I have a big barnyard filled with chickens and ducks and geese and rabbits and goats and potbelly pigs.
Oh my God.
Rabbits.
Dr. Dolittle.
Yes. I'm just an animal whisperer. I love.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yes. So that's really not on my bio, I don't think. But yes, and so it's sort of ever changing. I kind of laugh. I think there must be a sign outside my house. It's neon that only the animals see, that says sucker or something. So because all these animals just kind of show up. And
so do they all get along?
Yes, I have to write a children's book. I've been wanting to for a long time, and I have so many stories about animals and getting along that would be so relevant to humans and how we need to get along. And it's just, I have so many, it would take another whole interview, but it's really, really interesting.
That's amazing though, because they're all so different. You know, and you would think that you put them all together and they might not get along with each other. But
well, I remember when we adopted a horse. I grew up with horses, so I'm just love horses, but I adopted a horse and I didn't really have a place to put him. So I put him in the barnyard with the goats and the chickens and everything. And this horse was so adorable that he would stand there and the animals would walk underneath him. And if he had to walk, he would literally lift his foot to make sure he didn't step on anything.
Aww.
You know, I mean, so it was so interesting. And I had a bunny Monet warrior rabbit that protected my 3-legged goat Tripod that was born it was born with only 3 legs.
Is that what you named him, Tripod?
I didn't name it. That's the name that it came with when the owner couldn't take care of him anymore because they only had 3 legs, and I took him, and he was just really sweet. And when I got this rescue of a potbelly pig, the potbelly pig attacked Tripod. Monet, a tiny 3-pound warrior bunny, just decided to intervene and protect the goat. And it's just amazing how these animals all work together, and
Oh my gosh.
they sleep together and they cuddle up together. And it could teach us as humans something how to be empathy, how to be empathetic and compassionate, and how to get along. I had a turkey that didn't have a partner, and she wanted to be a mom. And so she gathered all these different eggs from the chickens and the geese, and she hatched them.
Oh
she was the mom.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it's very, you learn so much from animals. So I learned so much from animals and from the kids. And hopefully I will be having either children's books or maybe books for middle schoolers or something, because I don't know. I think kids love animals. I know I do.
Oh yeah.
And there's just so many stories.
Yeah, well, because you have the space for them to create or just to live together.
Yes,
it's wonderful.
And I feel really
beautiful.
blessed. I'm so blessed to have space. Having grown up on a farm and having, just my playmates were literally the wild animals and climbing trees and romping in the hills and, swimming in creeks and all of that, that I need space around me. And as much as I appreciate the city and I appreciate, restaurants and theater and museums and all that, I can't breathe in the city. When I leave a city, I'm just so happy to see the cows and to hear,
hear friends.
Yes,
it's your extended family.
My family is greeting me. I know.
Yeah.
And for some people that wouldn't be it, but I really love just listening to the wind and hearing the birds and watching the clouds. I just need space around me. So I'm very, very blessed that I have space and was able to build a space to have a barnyard so that I could take care of animals that were not going to have a nice ending.
Yeah. You have a huge heart. You do. I mean, you have
Thank you.
A beautiful, huge heart, and it shows in everything you do.
Well,
and
thank you.
yeah, I'm so blessed to be speaking with you and getting to know you. So I really appreciate it. So
I feel the same way, Jane.
Oh, thank you so much. So is there one thing that you would like to tell our audience, because we will have a lot of entrepreneurs and creatives and possibly women who are shifting in their life right now? One last thing that maybe you could share that you've loved about being an entrepreneur, or that a word of encouragement that you could, because these are unprecedented times and people might be reassessing their lives. So what little tidbit might you share? I mean, you've already shared so much, but is there anything else?
I am sure that the times are changing and we're never going to go back to what it was. So this is a wonderful time to become an entrepreneur. And again, I really believe in women power. And as a woman, there couldn't be a better time for you to step up and to be the star you were born to be. So again, find your purpose. Really decide, what is it that you love? And it could be a hobby right now. And once you have found that, let your passion go for that, and then go into action to get all those skills you need, because you can be the best at whatever you choose to be. It's never too late. And just keep growing. We have to keep growing. We never want to stagnate. So change is a good thing. So grow yourself and be the star you are, because every single person that is watching or listening now is a star. And you may not feel like it because you might have gone through hard times, but inside you've got a flame that's burning. So what is that passion? What turns you on? What makes you jump out of bed in the morning and go, yay, it's morning? Because there's a seed of your future in there. So from that, there's your passion. And from that, you can find your profit. So turn your passions into profits and be the star you are.
Thank you. That was beautiful. I couldn't have said it better.
Oh, you could. I know you could.
No, not at all. So where can people find you? And I know that all this information will be available as well in the speaker pages, but just give them another a little bit of information of where people can find you.
For my website, go to cynthiabryan.com, and that's CYNTHIA, and Bryan, BRIAN.com. If you're interested in the radio shows, just go to starstyleradio.com, and that's Star Style Radio. And there you can also find the Express Yourself. And for Be the Star You Are, it's BeTheStarYouAre.org. Or if you don't want to type too much, just the letters, BTSYA.org. And from there, you should be able to find everything. And you can find all the social media sites and read blogs and, you know, and feel free to contact me if you want coaching or any of that.
Here are the 4 final questions that I ask of every guest, because we are here on the Epic Vision Zone. So if your life were an epic story, what would the title be?
Oh, mine would be I Am a Star.
Perfect. I love it. Perfect. What name would you give your character in your epic story?
Stella.
Stella?
It means star in Italian.
Ah, okay.
And I'm Italian. I'm Italian.
Okay. And therein lies the beautiful personality, I tell you. How would you characterize your epic life?
I am blessed. I really feel that I am very, very grateful for the life that I have led. And whether it's ups or downs or in-betweens, I wouldn't change anything. I am I'm thrilled. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it feels that way.
And grateful, just really grateful. I think that's the main thing. Every day I just say, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, that really counts. I will say one last question for you, or I will ask one last question. If you had one epic superpower, what would it be and why?
Superpower, if I had a superpower, I would like to be able to spread joy and happiness and positivity into the hearts and souls of anyone that I meet. And they wouldn't know how it happened, but they would just, after they leave, they would just be bursting with energy and realize that they are a star and that they have that they have great things to do and they're going to be able to accomplish them. That would be my superpower. I don't know how to say it in one word, but it would be empowering others through my mind, my soul, and my heart.
Yes, that's definitely you. Perfect. So thank you, Cynthia, for coming on with us today and sharing your amazing gifts, intuition, and inspiration, and for sharing with us how we can all be the star that we are. Cynthia and I would love to hear from you now, so go on over to my Facebook page and write a comment. Tell us what your epic takeaway was from this conversation. And remember, this is where you imagine, create, and build a life and business doing what you love. Until next time, I'm Jane Applegath, and you're watching the Epic Vision Zone.